Welcome to the ELA adoption. I bet you're so glad you're here to get this new program started. I know that it's been a long time coming, and thank you for taking the time to be able to sit down and enjoy your cool beverage and have your little nest of work there so that you will be able to work alongside and talk about the ELA adoption for the next few minutes with me. First of all, let's talk about where we've been and where we are right now. So in 2021, we put together a timeline that you see here. It looks like this, and where we are right here is to the end of this timeline. And so right now we are with teacher professional learning is beginning, coaches professional learning is beginning, and full implementation is expected in August 15th when you have students come back to your classroom. And then September through May, ongoing coaching, implementation. And what's not represented on this timeline would be also our 3 to 6 year adoption process and what that looks like, which we'll talk about in just a few minutes. Let me talk a little bit about the simple view of reading and how our adoption process came to be. In the simple view of reading, we have word recognition, or the code, times the language comprehension equals reading comprehension. And so you see that also represented here. Word recognition, or learning the code, learning how to read. Language comprehension, meaning knowing how to talk about things, how to comprehend language to be able to have reading comprehension. This is a multiplicative sentence, not an addition sentence. So it isn't 1 + 1 = 2. It's word recognition times language comprehension equals reading comprehension. So if I can't do the code, but I can talk about a lot of things and I have high vocabulary, that still equals 0 reading comprehension because I can't read what's on the paper. If I have word recognition and no language comprehension, so I might know some code, and then I have no language comprehension, this might be like an EL learner, then I still have no reading comprehension. But most of our students might have part of the code, but not all of the code, and part of our language comprehension, not a high vocabulary, and then they only have 1/4 of the reading comprehension needed to be able to pass basic knowledge tests and also be able to pass your grade level assessments. We also could have half of word recognition and have all of language comprehension, and still then we only come up at the 50% line. So this idea that is a research-based model from Goff and Tumner tells us why we need strong decoding pieces in a program, why we need strong language and rigorous text to be able to get kids to truly have reading comprehension. And this is the why behind how our adoption went forward. Here then is how we accessed these two components. As we went through and looked for a comprehensive basal program, we could not find one that had both rigorous word recognition and rigorous language comprehension. So what that looks like in practice is, for word recognition, the 95 Phonics Core program for grades K through 3, with an additional routine that's being added to support what is going on in K through 3 in 4-5, called the multisyllabic routine cards. Then every grade will have for language comprehension, the Wonders program, which has rigorous text with lots of close reading, lots of structured classroom discussion, lots of EL supports and scaffolds already built in to be able to have kids be able to access reading comprehension, which will be measured by Acadian's Retell, Acadian's Maze, Reading Inventory RI if you're 4th and 5th grade, writing assessments, the RISE, the Keep Exit if you're in kindergarten, the DWISBA for grades 1 through 5, program assessments that are inside of Wonders or other programming like your science texts, and formative assessments that you make up in the classroom or that are formative assessments along the way in the Wonders program. You can't have one without the other. This one informs this, and this outcome will inform this right here. And that is how our two programs came together. We also built in curriculum coherence. And so as we looked at curriculum coherence in the classroom, we could see that there was some needs of that curriculum coherence. And so in the general education classroom, we have K through 3 with the 95 core phonics program. In 4-5, the Wonders multisyllabic program. In intervention, we have 95 PLL phonics lesson library, 95 phonemic awareness kit, Wonders leveled readers. We also have the kindergarten ERI kit, K-PALS and PALS. These are the core pieces of our intervention program. We also have, for both K through 5, is the Wonders program for that other component. In special education, they also will engage with those same core pieces, but at the intensive level. So WonderWorks is there, along with 95% phonics lesson library and the 95 phonological kit. Special classes, who are our ACC, ABS, DK, and Youth Academy, will also work with WonderWorks and 95% core phonics program. If you are ECC or Jordan Valley, we'll have Simple Readers, Reading Mastery, and News to You. And that is our curriculum coherence. The effect size of a comprehensive curriculum coherence program is a 0.72. So we're hoping to get some really great gains using that component. There's also an adoption piece that helped inform our decisions. The state now has, with Senate Bill 127, a evidence-based curriculum in the 2 adopted programs, and that has a compliance with that program, and you can click on here to be able to read what is in compliance about evidence-informed instruction and how things need to be evidence-based if they are adopted. Sorry about the flip back there. Here, let's start now with the 95% materials in schools and how they are to be used. First of all, in Tier 1, Phonics Core Program, which will be commonly known as the PCP in K3, or the multisyllabic routines in 4-5, they are always done in whole group during core instruction, not small group. Scope and sequence is provided there. There's a slide deck and lots of supports in an online file. In intervention for Tier 2s and Tier 3, so we have intervention programs. Tier 2 and Tier 3 is the phonics lesson library. Starts in 1st grade after the winter benchmark, and then 5th grade, 2 through 5, it goes through all grades. It can be in small group and special ed. It comes with a diagnostic. It has a targeted skill focus that is very finite compared with the Phonics Core program, and it also has an online file. A teacher, if they wanted to intervene with this piece, could front load or review anything in these components here with the phonics lesson chip kits, or just working them again with the knowledge that teachers have learned in their letters program. Otherwise, this is a whole group instruction. You would review or front load depending on your students, and that would be a choice of the teacher depending on their tasks. Let's look here about those big ideas in the 95 core phonics program. Every day begins with phonological awareness. There's a multisensory approach to learning how to read, meaning that kids are moving those chips and touching things and doing the phoneme grapheme mapping to be able to hook that sound to letter correspondence, or the alphabetic principle. So that's that speech to print. There are word sorts where they're looking for things that are the same and things that are different, like a word, for instance, like cape and cap with the long E principle. There's always the I do, the we do, and the you do sequence. And like I said before, everything has that phoneme grapheme mapping. Passages are decodable with a focus pattern. In other words, there will always be a fiction piece and a nonfiction piece for every skill. Teachers have a slide deck for teaching the lessons, both synchronously, so if you're in person, or if you needed them virtually for any virtual days, or if you wanted to film them to give a front load or a review, or for when you were absent or something like that, they could be filmed asynchronously. There are parent supports that are given in the online file that you'll have access to, and there are pattern spelling lists for the targeted sound spelling. So we've had many questions about, is there spelling? If you are in K-3, your spelling will come from the 95% core. If you are 4-5, your spelling will come from Wonders, and that's where your list will be. Let's talk about the organization and layout of the Phonics Core program. Each program has 3 volumes of teacher editions. There are 4 volumes of student editions in grades 1 through 3, but kindergarten only has 3. There are 30 lessons in grades 1 through 3, 25 lessons in grade kindergarten. Each lesson is a 5-day skill sequence, and then are manipulatives for each student in K-3. There are teacher presentation files, which is like a slide deck that has the items that slide up, and there are posters in 3rd grade. In the multisyllabic program for grades 4 and 5, the routines are aligned to kindergarten through 3rd grade. You also have word sorts. You also will have the I do, we do, you do sequence. There will be syllable mapping, so instead of working at the sound level, you'll be working at a syllable level where kids will breaking things into chunks. There is 18 weeks of core instruction that will be coupled with Wonders. So you'll be teaching approximately 10 minutes of the MSRC, which is the multisyllable routine cards, and you'll be teaching about 10 minutes of Wonders each day. You could also do a few more minutes of multisyllable and make a longer day of teaching on days 2 and 8, or lessons 2 and 8 of Wonders, something without the multisyllable. So that will be also shown at a later time during these presentations. There is 18 weeks of embedded instruction with Wonders. Then after you do the 18 weeks, the next 18 weeks are done with Wonders only, where you will then take the multisyllable routine that's been used and utilize it with those components in Wonders, where kids are becoming more fluent and agile with those routines. You will be using those routines with Wonders passages and you will be using them with the Wonder spelling list, as I said before on the previous slide. Teachers will have a slide deck, just like your K-3 people, for teaching the lessons both synchronously, virtually, or if filmed, asynchronously. Grades 4 and 5 need to know this component. We'll be doing some exploration tasks later on in your course, and you need to know that the Blackline Masters of Student Material are all in the online portal and will require a little bit of preparation. And so that's something that you'll need to front load yourself with to be able to prepare for next year. So I want you to now go to your Learning Task Notebook and find the portion with the 95% material for MSRC and core phonics, the phonics core program, and do this KWL. Reflect upon the simple view of reading and your foundations curriculum. What do you already know now about your foundations block? What questions do you still have, and what do you want to learn before implementation? And hopefully those next components in your Canvas course will help you with that portion. So go now to your Learning Task Notebook and take the time to fill that out.